Hey everyone, today I want to give you a quick review of the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 before I sell this off. I actually bought this phone to record videos and the recording capabilities are good, just that it's not that good, at least to my standards. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm going to sell this off. Anyway, more on that later. Let me just run through the specs very quickly. So you can get the specs from GSM Arena. The main specs are: this is powered by the Snapdragon 730G, so everything is actually quite responsive when it comes to surfing the web, downloading files, watching videos, and it's as responsive as this Xiaomi Mi Max 3 that has an even older processor. The weight is actually quite heavy, 208 grams. It's about as heavy as this 6.9-inch phone. So because of the size, which is smaller than that phone, and it has almost the same weight, it feels very solid, and the build quality is indeed very solid. The glass is very smooth, almost to the point that it's slippery, and the back is also polished until it has this high gloss. And here we have the 5 cameras, the main selling point, but only 2 out of the 5 are what I would consider above average. So this phone features this curved glass on both sides, which is, well, all I can say is I prefer phones that have flat glass. The reason for that is because it's way too easy to register accidental touches with your finger. So here I'm actually touching the side of the screen and it would open up that folder. So if you're using other apps, for example, when typing letters that are on the edge, you're actually pushing the letters from the side, which is not a good experience in my personal opinion. The curved screen also produces some highlights on the edges, so those actually are quite distracting to me and makes the phone feel even thinner than it is. The aspect ratio is 2:1, but it feels even thinner because of the highlights on the side. The display itself, maximum brightness is 600 nits, so it's really bright. You can definitely use this outdoors, no problem at all. And the colors are quite vibrant compared to the LCD here. So colors on OLED screens are definitely more vibrant and the contrast is better. Auto brightness is quite good during daytime, but at night, especially when your room is totally dark, the auto brightness is quite bright. So you may actually need to go in and turn down the brightness yourself. Battery life is quite decent. I can definitely get 1 full day of use with normal browsing, watching YouTube videos, taking occasional photos and videos, doing other things with other apps. But if you are going to be taking a lot of photos and videos, then the battery life is going to be used up quite fast, and also when you are taking a lot of photos and videos, the phone will heat up quite significantly, so that really affects battery life. If you are not doing anything intensive like gaming or recording 4K videos all the time, then battery life is decent. It's more than good enough. Main selling point of this phone is the 108 megapixel camera, which is this one in the middle. Now, if you are going to take 108 megapixel photos, each photo is going to take 4 seconds to process and save. So it's best to just use the 27 megapixel camera instead of the 108, unless you really need those megapixels. This is the extra wide lens, and this is the macro 2x and 5x. Of the 5 lenses, these 2, the extra wide and the normal lens, these are the best in terms of quality. The macro 2x and 5x, they are quite soft. This is a 108 megapixel file, and the quality is actually quite good. So this is a 1:1 zoom, and I can see the details, even the letters here on the icon very clearly. So that's the advantage of having so many megapixels. And the clarity, the colors, contrast, quite good. But the file size is going to be much bigger. So file sizes for 108 megapixel photos are around 18 to 20 megabytes, which is quite big. Especially when you consider this phone, it doesn't have the micro SD card slot. It only has the 2 nano SIM slot. It doesn't have expandable storage, so if you take a lot of big photos, 4K files, it's going to fill up the 128 gigs of storage really quickly. The lack of expandable storage is another reason why I have to sell off the phone, because I record a lot of videos. I don't want to have to worry about running out of storage space, and currently the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 only has the 128GB storage option. I think I just spotted some scratches on my phone. See that micro scratch there? I'm not sure where that came from. Anyway, no matter how hard that glass is, it's definitely going to scratch. I was at the Apple store an hour ago, and the iPhones on the tables, they are just filled with scratches. And don't tell me that people are testing iPhones by scratching their keys on the glass. Those are display sets. People are just using their fingers to tap on the glass, and those phones filled with scratches. And I accidentally pressed the sides again. I hate that. And here are the camera options. We have slow motion, short video, normal video. For normal video, you have access to all the 5 cameras. You only have access to all the 5 cameras with the stock camera app. If you are using third-party camera apps, you're not going to have all these cameras. You're only going to have the main camera, the 1x camera. This is the photo mode. This is the 108 megapixel mode. Portrait. Now, the portrait mode works really well. This is a standard photo taken with auto settings, and it's able to capture the details quite well, and the colors look very pleasing as well. This was taken with the portrait mode, so now the background, it's blurred out, and this blur, it's really pleasing. And also the lighting, just fantastic. The colors as well, very vibrant, captured really accurately. And this is a close-up, and you can see the background is also very blurred. You can actually control the amount of blur. You can make it even more blur or less blur. And here are some portrait photos taken at the zoo. So here I can see some blur in the background as well. The elephant is in focus, and it's quite sharp. This was with the blur increased to the maximum, so you can see the background, it's very blurry. Even the elephant itself, it has blurred edges. This is a bit better, a bit more controlled. Here you can see the left side blur. If there's anything I will miss about this phone after I sell it off, it would be the image quality of the photos and the portrait mode. This is the macro camera. It looks good on the phone, but when you view the photo on your computer's monitor, you're going to see the JPEG compression and the lack of details. Standard camera. This is the extra wide camera, which is exceptionally useful when it comes to taking photos indoors where you do not have a lot of space. If you want to take photos of big groups of people, this camera is also really useful. And the quality is quite good. It's a 20 megapixel camera. You can zoom in to whatever zoom, and the quality, the details, still quite sharp. The 2x and 5x cameras are not that great in terms of sharpness, but I would say, well, in a pinch, they are still usable. So this is the 2x camera. At least the colors are captured quite accurately. And let's take a look at the 5x camera. So you can use all the cameras for video recording, but only with the stock camera app. The front-facing camera can only record at 1080p. If you want to shoot at higher resolution, you would have to use third-party apps. The 5 main cameras on the back of the phone, they can record in 4K at 60 or 30 frames per second. As usual, the best cameras would be the extra wide and the normal camera. For macro, 2x and 5x, the images, the video, it's a bit soft. Overall, generally speaking, the image stabilization works well. There is also electronic stabilization on top of the image stabilization, or OIS. If you use electronic stabilization, Well, personally for me, I find the video to be a bit jerky, and sometimes it's like the video, the software is not able to stitch the frames together smoothly. That's why you see those jaggy, jerky video footage, and that is why this phone's video recording capability is not up to my standard. So for optimal video recording, do not use electronic image stabilization. Just use the default image stabilization, and you can turn that on or off in the settings. One thing that's quite useful is this anti-bending settings here in the camera settings. So you can choose between 50 and 60 Hertz depending on the light source. So for example, right now this phone is recording at 50 Hertz, and do you see any flickering? So there is no flickering. Let me change it to 60 Hertz and let you see the difference. And now there is very obvious flickering. So sometimes if you have light sources in the background, these light sources can be from tablets, from fluorescent light at your place, or from shops, or traffic lights. Basically any sort of light source is going to have some sort of flicker, and if the frequency of your phone doesn't match the frequency of the light source, you're going to see the flickering. And it's good that they have these settings here for you to switch. So it's either 50 or 60 Hertz. The last thing I want to mention is the phone comes with MIUI user interface. So if you don't like that interface, you can always install another launcher, which I have done so right here. MIUI doesn't come with the app drawer, so that's a bit inconvenient. So here I have this launcher called Nova Launcher, which has the app drawer. Oh, by the way, the microphone, when it comes to recording video, it's actually quite good. I'm not sure where is the microphone. Anyway, this is the downward facing speaker, USB-C. Oh, they have a 3.5mm audio jack, but no micro SD card slot. All right, to conclude, the design is nice, but I just cannot get used to the curved glass. I can get used to the notch, but not the curved glass. I like the weight, it's heavy because it has a big battery inside. Battery life is good, but if you are going to take photos and videos a lot, it's going to drain the battery really quickly. So if you bring this phone for a holiday or for a day trip where you need to take a lot of photos and videos, this is going to run out of battery pretty quickly. Aesthetic wise, I think it's good enough. Build quality is very solid. The camera's fantastic for taking photos, but for videos, sometimes the footage, I wish they could be even smoother, especially for those that were shot with electronic image stabilization. So the downside to me for this phone is really the curved glass and the video recording capabilities. Alright, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye!